The artisans of Islamic civilizations have produced some of the most treasured and fine examples of handcrafted arts. Inlaid wood, the technique most commonly referred to as mother-of-pearl inlay, dates to the period of the Mamelukes. Pieces produced during this period may be considered some of the best examples of this specialized craft. Islamic woodwork has been copied in other civilizations throughout the world. The very intricate craft of pearl inlay influenced the art of Italy and Spain following the Mamluk era. The Mamluks ruled the lands of Egypt, Syria and Palestine, also extending to areas of Anatolia, Hijaz, the Sudan and Libya. Their rule began in the 13th century of the Christian era. Wealthy sultans competed with each other as great patrons of the arts. This period produced some of the finest examples of Islamic art. The materials of the inlay originally came from the polished interior of certain shells, and much of the work contained ivory. More expensive pieces may still contain these materials, but today, due to concerns about animal conservation, most inlay contains alternative materials of similar appearance to replace the original ivory. Master artisans begin their work by preparing the mother of pearl, which requires both polishing and cutting to a very specific pattern. The object to be decorated or prepared with inlay is selected, and the pattern is already well known to the craftsman. Today, one can still see the meticulous execution of mother-of-pearl or pearl inlay, the repeating geometric patterns, the entwined floral motifs, and the actual techniques are practiced today mainly in Islamic countries. Pearl inlay is quickly recognized in both sacred and ornamental objects. This craft requires a precise and patient technique. One can see a primus stove, a pot of boiling glue, different precision scissors, and the various containers which hold pieces of ivory or today ivory-like materials, mother of pearl, and the item that will be inlaid. master craftsman will ensure that these pieces, most much smaller than the end of a pencil, are placed with exact precision. Any excess glue is removed. Originally, all the work was done completely by hand. Today, most of the work is hand done and machines are only used for polishing and cutting. Each artisan may spend up to several days on a single work. The inlaid work is completed with glass paper polishing. The artisans touch up any areas that do not meet the high standards necessary for this type of exquisite and precise work. The pieces are painstakingly and carefully glued to the object. Pearl inlay is used in wooden boxes especially created to hold the Quran. Other boxes are created for jewellery or just for their unique beauty as objects of art. The completed product appears almost flawlessly smooth, and the pearl inlay creates a rainbow of rich iridescent colour. These items, from the smallest candy box to the inlay on furniture, are well known throughout the world. Pearl inlay, dating from the time of the Mamluks, is one of the most well-known of the Islamic art forms, and many believe one of the most magnificent. In pure Islamic art, one finds a symmetrical geometric design which does not depict the human form in any manner. The depiction of the human form is considered iconic and is forbidden in the pure Islamic art forms.